What is going on, guys? My name is Brandino and welcome back to the channel, where today we are going to be reacting to 10 strangest facts about the Titanic. We have known many different facts about the Titanic. We have some false information. We actually have some actual facts. And just like a lot of channels in general do have like fake stuff or just over exaggerate stuff. So yeah, we're going to find out like these strange facts, if they're true or whether they're false. We shall find out.
The sinking of the Titanic is an event that has left an indelible mark on the face of modern humanity. Though the tragedy occurred more than 100
Such
years
a tragic
ago,
event.
the average citizen still knows about the supposed unsinkable ship. But few people know what really occurred on board. Today, we're looking at 10 incredible facts about the Titanic. It's well documented that the Titanic had many rich patrons. Because of the unsinkable ship's notoriety, the world's ultra-wealthy lined up to get on board. This included an American businessman named John Jacob Astor IV.
Richest man on board the Titanic.
Richest man on board,
there we
is
go.
widely believed to be the richest
I know my stuff.
man at the time. His net worth at the time of his death was $87 million. That's equivalent to $2.3 billion when adjusted for inflation.
Damn, okay. I also will say, like, the other day I did watch Titanic because it's such a, like, it's history, man. It's history. It's such a masterpiece of a film. Like, I could watch that film every day if I wanted to. It's such a beautiful masterpiece class.
He was a decorated military veteran and also wrote a popular science fiction novel called A Journey in Other Worlds.
Oh, okay.
Like generations of Astors before him, he also made millions in real estate.
Right, yeah.
In 1897, Astor built the Astoria Hotel, dubbed the
Ooh,
world's most
okay.
luxurious hotel in New York
Most
City,
luxurious hotel, okay. I see you, John, I see you.
Astor's cousin and rival, William. The complex became known as the Waldorf Astoria Hotel.
So this is New York, yeah?
One of the most iconic hotels in the world more than 100 years later. Tragically, Astor perished with his family dog Kitty. His wife and unborn child, who were on board, managed to survive and inherited his prodigious wealth.
There was only like 5 came back. Yeah, only 5 people came back. So obviously this was like one of them.
Elizabeth Jessup is either the luckiest or the unluckiest woman in the world, depending on your perception.
Why unluckiest?
She was a British nurse who grew up in Argentina. She was 24 when she first boarded the Titanic.
Only 24.
As a nurse.
Mate, she is lucky. She got off.
When the Titanic hit the iceberg. She later wrote, "I was ordered up on deck. Calmly, passengers strolled about. I stood at the bulkhead with the other stewardesses, watching the women cling to their husbands before being put into the boat."
So she watched them happen, like going to the boats.
After 8 hours,
there we go. The Carpathia.
Percentage of Titanic passengers and crew rescued by the Carpathia. 4 years later, she was on board the Titanic's sister ship, the Britannic, when it sank in the Aegean Sea due to an unexplained explosion. Britannic sank within 55 minutes, killing 30 out of the 1,000.
Oh wow! I didn't actually know how the Britannic sank.
British authorities hypothesized that the ship was either struck by a torpedo or hit a mine planted by German forces.
Yeah, I've never actually seen any footages or anything about the Britannic. I've never seen how it sank or any of it. I never actually saw any of it. Obviously, I knew it existed, the sister, but I never knew like what actually happened to it, really. So it'd just be good to find out.
Remarkably, Jessup survived.
Okay, so this is the wreck.
Capsized ships that were once believed
so it was tipped on its side.
In addition, she had been on board RMS Olympic, the eldest of the 3 sister ships, when it collided with a British warship called the HMS Hawke. Though it didn't sink, it was still remarkable that she was on board all 3 unlucky ships.
Okay.
Back before James Cameron was known as one of the most successful filmmakers of all time, he was a sci-fi filmmaker attempting to create a big-budget blockbuster about a cruise ship sinking 100 years ago.
Okay.
The film was Titanic, and it quickly became the most popular movie in history.
It did, yeah.
When Titanic
this
came
is
out
history
in
right here.
1997,
Historic
it was
film ever.
The highest-grossing film of all time, with a worldwide box office of over $1.8 billion.
Oh wow!
By some measures, it was the most viewed movie ever. But the film was not cheap to produce either.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not.
$200 million.
200 million.
Especially
Jesus.
money was a ton of cash. Today, this would be equivalent to $360 million.
Jesus.
But even more amazing is the fact that the movie was more expensive to produce than the original Titanic was to build.
Whoa,
it was constructed
damn.
in 1912.
Imagine that. The film was more like expensive than the actual Titanic build. That's insane. I did not know that one. That's actually insane. But is that actually true? We don't know, but if that's true, that is actually insane. I mean, it was like a 3 hour, 45 minute film. So it would not surprise me. Like, the amount of stuff that happened in that film, like, it would not surprise me if it was that expensive. Like, more expensive than the Titanic.
A total cost of $7.5 million.
I mean, $7.5 million? Really? It should be more than that, surely.
Just $190 million. a full 10 million short of James Cameron's budget. However, Cameron's endeavour turned out to be much more successful than that
when I look at this bit,
ship of the same name.
Like, when I look at that bit of the film, like, the more I watch it, the more I realise the animations of the film. You can actually tell the animations with the waves and how the Titanic strolls along the shore, and actually the iceberg as well. The more I watch the film, the more I can actually see the CGI, whatever you call it, and like the animations. Like, I actually do start to point it out now. Not to say anything bad about the film, obviously not, but I'm just saying, like, I think once you watch it a lot, you actually realise it.
Despite the fact that the Titanic was the largest ship ever constructed at the time,
Certainly was.
It still took 73 years to find its wreckage.
73 years?
Understandably, the ocean is vast.
I don't think we take that long.
After numerous dedicated rescue missions, the public never knew where it actually rested. In the end, authorities gave up, and many decades passed before the Titanic was discovered by accident.
That's pretty short, close to the shore, right?
The discovery of the Titanic
looks like it's
from
next to the
secret
coast.
United States Navy investigation of 2 wrecked nuclear submarines, according to the oceanographer who found the infamous ocean liner. Essentially, the discovery was part of a top-secret mission during the Cold War, but the Navy was sworn to secrecy on the matter until recently.
Okay.
On September 1st, 1985, a joint American-French expedition, headed by famous American oceanographer Dr. Robert Ballard, found the Titanic over 2 miles below the ocean's surface by using
like 4,000 feet below,
called Argo.
as we now know.
This discovery
Argo,
gave new
okay,
meaning to the Titanic sinking and gave birth to new dreams in ocean exploration. The initial purpose of the trip was to discover if there was any nuclear waste
some nice
left
footage
over
there. Some nice
from
footage on
2
the
nearby
Titanic.
submarines. But in the end, the mission was fruitful and led to the most
Doesn't look
famous
real though.
underwater
Don't
discovery
look real.
in history. It's no secret that the sinking of the Titanic was a
The sad music in the
disaster.
background makes it like more
The truth
realistic
is
as well.
that the vast
It's so sad.
majority of the passengers died in the
It hits
wreckage.
you.
Over 1,500 people died
Yep,
in the
and
maritime
only, like,
disaster, while 705 individuals survived. Researcher Chuck Anesi crunched the numbers, breaking down the demographics of the survivors. He found that 97% of the 140
Well, of course, like, first class gonna survive
first-class
more.
passengers
I felt so sorry for the third class. Like, they suffered enough, like, going, like, into labs such as being with rats and everything. And they still focus on the first class, like, let's get these off first. So unfair. It was so unfair. I would have done third class first. They deserve it. They did not exactly have the most luxurious of, like cabins, you know what I mean? They were stuck with rats, for God's sakes. They should have went first. That's not fair. First class get everything. It's not fair.
175 male counterparts were saved. Ultimately, he found that male second-class passengers fared the worst in terms of survival, with only 14 out of 168 making it out alive.
Right.
The total survival rate for women was 74%, while the male survival
That
rate
makes sense
was
because
12%.
obviously women and children
Another
first.
terrible tragedy is that the boat hosted many family pets.
Aww,
Their
no,
quarters
you
were
can't do that
opened
to me. That's
after the ship
sad.
began to sink. Only 2 of them managed to survive.
Only
For one
2.
passenger,
Oh,
named
no.
Elizabeth Isham, this may have
Can't
led
be doing
her
that to
own
me.
demise. Legend states she probably died because she did not want to leave behind her Great Dane after the
Aw,
ship began
that's
to
sad.
sink. A woman was reportedly sighted in the water with her arms frozen around a dog. In the end,
What?
she was only one of 4 first-class women who perished.
Oh, wow, that's sad. Oh, that's also like being frozen with like a dog and everything. Oh my god. Right. Composure. I'm not gonna cry. Not gonna cry. Sad, but not gonna cry. I'm good.
Milvina Dean was a British
here we go.
civil servant cartographer
Milvina Dean.
and the last survivor of the sinking of the RMS Titanic. At 2 months old, she was also the youngest passenger aboard. Her parents
I think
had
I remember
returned to
her,
New
yeah,
England
I remember
for
her.
America, where her father
Being the
had
youngest
family
passenger.
in Kansas and hoped to open a tobacco shop. The Deans had not chosen to be aboard the Titanic, but because of a coal strike, they were transferred to the ship and boarded it as third-class passengers at Southampton.
Of course they were.
Her father felt the crunch of the ship's collision with the iceberg on the night of the 14th of April 1912 and went up to investigate. He returned to their cabin, telling his wife to dress the children and go up on deck. Though she doesn't remember it, Dean and her mother and siblings survived, while her father perished in the tragic accident.
Nice.
As soon as Dean reached the shore,
At least someone
reporters
survived.
crowded
At least
her,
someone made it.
hoping to snap a photo of the Titanic infant.
Oh, of
Almost
course they did,
100 years later, she passed away at her senior home in England. Her ashes were scattered from a launch at the docks in Southampton.
Ah,
where the
okay.
Titanic set sail.
At least she had a peaceful death. That's nice.
Her housing bills were paid by Leo DiCaprio, Kate Winslet, and James
Oh,
Cameron.
that's nice.
The Titanic was
That's probably
a
in a museum
singular
now,
ship
probably.
with some crazy statistics to back it up. For example, the ship was 883 feet long,
Okay.
825 tons of coal a day, and
Right,
used
makes
more than
sense.
10,000 light bulbs.
10,000 light bulbs.
Though many people
That's fair.
perished during the crash, there were actually 2 workers who passed away during construction.
Oh,
In
wow.
addition, the anchor was so heavy that it took 20 horses to transport.
20 horses, Jesus.
The Titanic had a maximum capacity of 3,500 passengers, though
Right.
there were roughly 2,300 on board when it sank. Of these, there were 13 honeymooning couples. This was not a very festive way to celebrate their marriage. Each lifeboat had a capacity of 65 people, though there were only 28 on the first boat.
Imagine that they actually showed someone having a wedding on there. That would have been so bad, like so sad, I
They
mean.
assumed they would never need them. On board, there were 1,000 bottles of wine and
Right, I don't remember Mr. Bean on being on there.
14,000 gallons of drinking water was drunk every day. Miraculously, the Titanic received 6 iceberg warnings before
6
finally
iceberg
colliding
warnings?
with a massive icy monolith. 31% of the passengers
Okay,
survived.
definitely was smaller than that in the movie.
53% could have
100%.
survived if the boat was properly prepared. The ship currently rests at 12,600 feet below sea level. The Titanic was the largest ship in the world for its time. It was longer than the famous Lusitania, built
Right.
in 1906, by more than 100 feet. The Lusitania itself was 790 feet in length.
What about the
Before
sisters?
construction of the ship, 3 berths at the Belfast shipyard had to be modified to accommodate the Titanic and its 2 sister ships,
There you go,
the
Olympia.
Britannic and the Olympic.
Yeah.
Also, across the Atlantic,
Britannic and
modifications
Olympic.
had to be made to the pier in New York City Harbor to receive these larger ships.
Okay.
The Titanic and its sister ships did not hold the distinction of being the largest ships for long, even though they were 883 feet from bow to stern.
I like seeing the old
By
footage as well, I like that.
1934, the
Spectral.
luxury cruise ship, the Queen Mary, took the honour of being the longest and largest
I would love to
ship.
go to Queen Mary. Honestly, I would love to stay on the Queen Mary because like a really massive ship, biggest ship in the world, and also notoriously, probably the most haunted place. I would love to spend like maybe 3 nights on the Queen. I'll probably even stay a week, but 3 nights on the Queen Mary, I would absolutely love that. Get some experience out of it, see what it's like, see if I get some haunted experience as well. I would love to have that. I would love to have that.
Beat the Titanic's length by 136 feet.
Damn.
1,019 feet
Beat
long.
it.
That's the equivalent of more than 3 football fields laid end to end. It was not until the 1990s.
Oh, here we go,
that
there we
another
go.
cruise
This
ship was built
cruise ship
longer
is
than the Queen
massive.
Mary, but the current largest
This cruise ship
ship
was
in the world
mad.
absolutely dwarfs the Titanic.
Like, it has, like,
18
water
decks
parks and
7
everything.
neighborhoods, Royal Caribbean's Symphony of the Seas is the world's largest cruise ship. At
Oh, look at that. Look at this.
Feet, it's more
This
than
thing's a
300
beast.
feet
Look at the
longer
water
than
slides.
Titanic and can house an
This thing's a
excess of
monster. It's a
5,000
beast.
more people. Frederick Fleet is a British man who is famous for a very unfortunate reason. Along with fellow lookout Reginald Lee on duty aboard the Titanic when the ship struck the iceberg, it was Fleet who first sighted the iceberg, rigging the bridge to proclaim "Iceberg right ahead."
Oh,
On
okay.
the evening of April 14th, the Titanic began to approach.
You're
an
too busy
area
staring at
known
people
for the
kissing though
iceberg.
to actually notice the
Captain
iceberg.
slightly altered the ship's course to head farther south. However, he maintained the ship's speed of about 22 knots. Fleet and Lee were stationed in the crow's nest of the Titanic. Their task was made difficult by the fact that the ocean was unusually calm that night. Because there would be little water breaking at its base, an iceberg would be more difficult to spot. In
Yeah.
addition, the crow's nest binoculars were missing. Fleet
Oh.
later attested that if they had binoculars, he believed they could have saved the ship.
Oh, wow.
Apparently, this information weighed on his spirit because Fleet hanged himself in 1965.
Oh, mad. I didn't know that. Mate, oh mate, imagine like the difference. Imagine if they had those binoculars with them at that time, mate. That history of the Titanic wouldn't even exist. Like, it would have done. All little prop, just a little pair of goggles. That's it. It could have been saved. That's actually mad. Yeah, goggles, binoculars.
Around for at least 100 years. Upon hearing that the Titanic sank, nearly all news agencies, including the Daily Mail, the
There we go.
Belfast Telegraph,
I would love to
and
have
the
one of these
World,
newspapers.
reported that
That'll
there
be
were no
sick to have.
casualties on
Imagine
board
Omar those.
in order to maintain calm. However, this
No
also
lives
gave
lost.
false
Yeah,
hope to the
right.
families of the passengers
That's
who
disrespectful.
lamented their friends and families passing in a cruel twist of fate. In Baltimore, the Sun's Evening Sun for April 15th devoted its entire first page to the disaster under the Good News banner and headlines, "All Titanic passengers are safe, transferred in lifeboats at sea." But other newspapers had the same story. In
Right.
New York, the Evening Sun also exulted, "All saved from Titanic after
No,
collision."
you can't do that. You
Some
got to tell the
papers even
truth.
reported that the ship didn't sink. The first
Can't give him
paragraph
false
of the
hope about
Halifax
that.
Nova Scotia story states, held afloat only by her waterproof compartments, the Great White Star liner Titanic is slowly crawling towards this harbour. The
Wow.
Oswego Daily Times used a United Press Association story reporting the Titanic was not only afloat, but that her engines were working.
Damn, okay. Mate, like, it'd be disrespectful if like you didn't tell them that actually what happened to the Titanic. It'd be disrespectful like if you didn't tell them. Like, don't give them false hope, you know what I mean? Wow, that hit different, you know. There were actually some interesting facts in there that I actually didn't know about. I actually really did enjoy that video. It was interesting to see more. I mean, like, some of it might not have been true. I can't actually know. Like, I feel like in these situations, not everyone can know, to be honest. Maybe someone out there could tell me if it's true or not, but we'll find out. But no, that was interesting.